Good morning. Welcome to Isafjordur, Iceland. Today we have a very exciting shore excursion planned. We are going to a waterfall, followed by a maritime museum. Then we're going to talk to a local fisherman. And lastly, we're going to spend our time at a church and a nearby village. So it's going to be very exciting today. Let's go down to the theater to meet up with a shore excursion. Bye-bye! When we went to the theater, we checked in for our tour. Shortly, our tour group was called, and we made our way off the ship. We were very blessed today. Our cruise ship was supposed to tender to shore. To tender to shore, the cruise ship would anchor in the bay. Then a small boat would take passengers to shore. However, our cruise ship was able to work it out with the local cruise port to dock on their pier. That meant we could simply walk off the ship onto the pier and make our way to the parking lot. Soon our tour began. We traveled through the small town of Isafjordur. Isafjordur is the largest town in the West Fjords Peninsula. It has a population of approximately 2,744 people. Isafjordur has a university center. It offers two programs. They are coastal and marine management, and the other program is coastal communities and regional development. The area is known for its breathtaking landscapes. Hiking, biking, kayaking, horseback riding, and whale watching are popular outdoor activities and attract many visitors to the region. Isafjordur is about 7 hours from Reykjavik. Isafjordur only has one roundabout in the city.
Some of the other towns, there are way less people. So we are going to go to Nifsdalur and Bolungavik as well. And Nifsdalur has only 210 people. And Bolungavik has only 1,000.
Our first stop of the tour is at a stunning waterfall in the valley of Tugungalar. Planting trees in this region began in 1950. Although the area is very steep, trees such as spruce, lodgepole pine, and Siberian pine have thrived. This is a very popular recreational area. The water from the waterfall comes from a glacier. It is said to be very pure. Our tour guide filled a pitcher with water and allowed all those who wished to drink from the water. I did not drink any of the water as I did not want to get sick in case there were any disease-causing microorganisms in the water. Some people said the water tasted great, while others said it did not taste very good. On the bridge, I noticed someone from another cruise ship had placed his tour sticker on the bridge. Our tour guide said there are about 200 cruise ships which visit Isafjordur every summer. We next travel back to Isafjordur to tour the Maritime Museum. The museum goes by two names, the Maritime Museum and also the Westfjord Heritage Museum. The museum was located just a short ways from our cruise ship. When the first merchants of the Danish trade monopoly came to Isafjordur in 1602, they built their store in this location. Since the merchants arrived in the spring and left in the fall of the year to sail back to Denmark, there was no reason to set up houses. Around the 1900s, about 24 houses had been built at this location. 4 houses from the 18th century still stand at this site. The 4 buildings are the general store, built around 1760, the manager's house, built in 1765, the tar house, built in 1781, and the tower house, built in 1784. In 1974, the buildings officially gained a protected status. The Westfjords Heritage Museum now operates in the tower house, and the whole area is a public museum. Upon entering the museum, we were encouraged to try salted cod and Greenland shark. The shark reportedly has a very strong taste. Many people needed to drink some local schnapps to get rid of the bad taste in their mouths. On the first floor of the museum, there were displays of local fishermen apparel and lots of old photos of fishing boats. Also on display were models of various fishing vessels. There were other items such as rope used to tie up fishing boats, lanterns, fishing line, and bells. The museum displays the area's marine past and also the heritage of the area. On April 21, 1971, the British trawler Caesar H. 226 ran aground near Isafjordur. The crew attempted to dislodge the vessel, but it was soon inundated. The incident resulted in oil spilling into the fjord, contaminating the beaches with oil debris. An attempt was made to float the vessel to England. However, it sank on June 1, 1971, with 160 tons of oil still on board. A large glass showcase displayed postcards, maps, and trading cards, which were all for sale. There was also an old cash register which still worked. The currency used in Iceland is the Icelandic krona. On the next level, there was an old typewriter and logbook. This was used to keep track of the fisherman's catch and information about where the fish were caught. Also on display were maps of the region. Blueprints of the fishing vessels were on display, along with the tools needed to create the blueprints. The drawings were very accurate and were drawn to scale. In the middle of the museum is a pulley. This is an original part of the building. It used to deliver things up and down to the various parts of the building. Continuing on, there were various pieces of furniture. I am not sure what the significance is of the crown on the chair. On the next chair, there is a cat. It seems to have taken refuge in the warmth of the upstairs and away from the many tourists who stayed downstairs. Since there is a blanket on this chair, this may be the cat's favorite area to take a nap. Ah, so sleepy. Next, fine china was on display. It used to be a status symbol to own fine china, whether it was dinnerware or coffee sets. Fine china was and still is commonly given as wedding gifts. It is primarily used on special occasions. Next, there was an old kitchen. It displayed items from the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. There is a kitchen sink, a baking counter, a wood-burning stove, old kitchen mixers, kitchen utensils, an old refrigerator, and a kitchen table, complete with a high chair for young children. Continuing on, there is a child's room. There is a bed, dresser, tricycle, clothes, rocking horse, crib, dolls, and a buggy. In another corner of the museum, there is a workspace which has woodworking items and miscellaneous tools needed for around the farm. In another part of the museum, there were items displayed which were used in the bathroom, such as a hairdryer, air curlers, and a man's shaver. There were two old sewing machines and materials used to create clothes. There was also a washing machine, clothesline, and various items which were used to clean the home. And lastly, there was an ironing board and an iron. On the next level of the museum, there was a large display of accordions. The accordions are from all over Europe. In addition, there were old record players. Continuing on, there were small accordions which were used by children. The rest of the attic was filled with old shipping gear and lots of models of various shipping vessels. The model showed ships which varied from small ships to very large ships. At the very top of the museum, there is a lookout point which gives great views of the surrounding area. In the back of the museum, there are some more old shipping vessels. Looking out to the front of the museum, you can see our ship and another cruise ship in port. In the back of the museum, there was a boat launch. Today, some visitors are getting ready to go kayaking. They will go out into the bay and then circle out into the fjord. If all goes well, they should be able to see some whales in the fjord. How exciting! It seems not everyone is having a great day. Two birds are fighting. Soon, we were back on the bus and traveled to our next stop to talk to a local fisherman about fishing in the region. We left the city of Isafjordur and traveled 13 kilometers to a nearby city called Bolungarvik. To travel to Bolungarvik, the road hugs the side of the fjord. The road is fairly safe for part of the way. However, as one travels around part of the fjord, the mountainside is very unstable. Previously, the road has been washed out a number of times and also covered in rock slides. Many people have been killed on this road, including a very tragic bus accident in 2004. For this reason, in 2010, a tunnel was opened which dives deep into the mountain. The tunnel is 5.4 kilometers long. One huge advantage of having the tunnel is that the road stays open even during severe snowstorms. This allows people on both sides of the tunnel to easily get to safety in case of an avalanche or other emergency. Once we exited the tunnel, we then circled back to the old highway and followed it along the fjord. The old highway is still open and cars can drive on it at their own risk. The roadway is mostly used by hikers and bicyclists. At the fishing village, we had amazing views of the city of Bolungarvik. Bolungarvik is a fishing village situated on the outskirts of the Isafjordur Bay. The small cove, which the village derives its name from, faces northeast. It is limited by two mountains. The place where we stopped at was called Asfor. This is a museum, which is a reconstructed fishing station. It was recreated as a memorial to the almost forgotten Icelandic activity of fishing. Asfor is an example of how fishing was originally performed in Iceland. The renovation of the old fisherman's hut started here in 1988. Today, the surroundings and the equipment are representative of how everyday life was during the era of using rowboats. The museum consists of a fisherman's hut, a salting house, a hut to dry the fish, and a space to dry out the fish. We had to descend down some very steep steps to go to the museum. Because it had rained the day before, the walkway was very slippery and muddy. Thankfully, no one in our group fell. During our visit, a young man told us about fishing in Iceland. The fishermen wore sheepskin outfits. They are water resistant. The guide told us about the unique gloves the fishermen wore. Because the thumb usually wore out first, they created gloves which had an extra thumb. When the thumb wore out on the glove, they would rotate the glove around. Now the glove was like new, and they could continue using the glove. The guide said for the price of an extra thumb, the fishermen were able to get a glove which lasted twice as long as traditional gloves. The guide also informed us the boat he is leaning on is a boat which is slightly smaller than the one the fishermen used. Moreover, to catch fish, the fishermen used a hook and placed on it spoiled horse meat as bait. The buildings were made using items found nearby. They built the huts into the hillside to keep the huts warm. The huts were made of stones, and the roofs were constructed using grass.
My name is Maud, M-A-R-O-U, and I live over there, that town over there.
In the first hut, there were items stored which were used by the fishermen. There were tools which were used for both fishing and to repair fishing gear. Additionally, there was fishing line, barrels which were used to store various commodities such as fish and salt, and crates and baskets used to carry around the fish. In the next hut, this was where the fishermen lived. On the ground floor, they used the space as storage and as a work area. Saws are stored in the corner. Fishing gear is hung up on the walls. Moreover, a table is covered in various items.
Okay, the bedroom up there.
Yeah.
One item on display is the fishing glove the guy talked about. You can see how the glove was made just like a regular glove, with the exception of the addition of the extra thumb. What a clever invention!
Oh, it can't be easy life.
Upstairs is where the fishermen stayed. There was a small space which was used as a food preparation area. There is a small can of baking soda on the window ledge. In the corner, there is a spinning wheel. Along the wall, there are wooden chests which store the women's clothing, sewing items, and material needed to make new clothes. A few other items can be seen, such as a scale and a cooking pot. In the next room, there is a wood-burning stove. This is where most of the food was cooked. In this village, there were 7 men and 1 woman. There are only 4 beds. This means everyone shared a bed. This was done to prevent the people from freezing to death. Every night, the woman slept in a different bed to prevent animosity from arising between the men. The woman did all the domestic work. This included cooking, cleaning, repairing the clothes, making new clothes, and keeping the peace between the men. It was a very hard life. Up a small hill, there was a hut where the fishermen dried the fish. The slats in the walls allowed for a lot of airflow through the building to dry the fish. However, the slats kept out the snow and unwanted invaders such as the Arctic fox. After being salted, the fish were hung up to dry. All parts of the fish, including the head, were used. Soon it was time to continue up the path and go towards our bus. We next visited the city of Bolungarvík. In Iceland, any community which has less than 1,000 people has to be part of a city which has 1,000 people or more. Bolungarvík had a population of 997 people. They were classified as being part of nearby Isafjordur. The community hosted parties and encouraged people to form relationships. The tactic worked. Bolungarvík now has a population of 1,003 people. They are delighted they are now their own city.
Words are avalanche barrier. And the only native mammal, land mammal on Iceland are the Arctic foxes. And there are quite a lot of Arctic foxes around next to us and in front of us. So you can see that these are huge. And these are built to stop the snow rumbling down from the mountains. The avalanches usually happen early spring because there is still a lot of snow on the top of these mountains. So you can probably see that these mountains are under siege from the mountains and try to reach the cities. So that's the reason why. And it usually has a different color as well. So the inland Arctic foxes are usually completely white during the winter.
Next, we visited a church. Surrounding the church, there was beautiful countryside.
If you could come in as well, because they're going to start a concert and I'm gonna.
From the church, we also had great views of the city of Bolungarvík. Inside the church, a young girl played for us a few songs on the piano and sang for us in Icelandic. Soon, we were back on the bus and heading to Isafjordur. Once again, we took the tunnel through the mountain.
Activity as well, what most of the locals do during the skiing season, during the winter, most people go skiing.
Upon exiting the tunnel, we were back in Isafjordur.
Finally, we are out of the tunnel and we are back in Isafjordur.
Quickly, a cruise ship came into view and our tour ended. Good afternoon. Today has been a very busy day. After getting back from the shore excursion, I really wanted to go into Isafjord to just look around and to go to the grocery store. My mom is not feeling very well. She got really sick during supper last night, so she decided to stay in the cabin today to just rest and recover. Meanwhile, I wanted to go to town, and thankfully someone from our tour group also wanted to go to town, so she went with me, so I did not have to go alone. That was very kind of her. We went to the grocery store. I found some organic chocolate, and of course, I was very excited and I bought some. Then, after we exited the grocery store, we looked around town. It was really a stunning, beautiful town center. There were a lot of shops and restaurants and hotels. After looking around the city center, we started making our way back to the cruise port. On the way, we found this cute little house. I'm not sure what the significance of it is. It had absolutely stunningly beautiful gardens in the front with lots and lots of wildflowers, and it was just so pretty to look at. Then shortly, we were back at the cruise port and back on board the ship. Then I went up to the dining room to get something to eat, get something to drink. I'm very, very dehydrated after being out all day. So then I've come back up here. I'm now resting in the room. This evening I plan to go to supper and then go to Sailaway. So things are very, very busy here on the cruise ship, and I'm just going to go now and relax and just take a break. Because one thing you learn whenever you're on a cruise is go, 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 and you just have to find time to rest. So that is a bit of an update. Bye for now. Sailaway was quite impressive. The dock was very tricky. There was only about 4 feet in front of the ship and 4 feet in back of the ship, which was deep enough for the ship. To sail in and out of the dock, we had to move sideways to get out into deeper water. Once we were in the shipping channel, the cruise ship began backing up to sail towards an area which would allow the ship to turn around. The red and yellow boat on the left side of the screen was a pilot boat, which was ensuring the ship would not crash into anything. The fjords in this part of Iceland are quite unique. Instead of the fjords having pointed tops to them, they have rounded, flat tops. Isafjordur is the largest town in the West Fjords. The region of the West Fjords has a total population of about 7,000 people. With approximately 3,000 people, Isafjordur has become the capital of the West Fjords region. Isafjordur loosely translates as iced fjord. The name was given to this fjord because part of its sheltered landward end freezes on cold winter days. This is very unique as most fjords do not do that. In the past, Isafjordur was bigger and wealthier than Reykjavik. However, the town has lost that race and instead settles for being a small, safe community. The town provides essential services, including a hospital. The hospital is limited, and complicated cases are airlifted to Reykjavik. Once we were far enough out into the fjord, the ship turned around and began sailing in the forward direction. The fastest way to get to the West Fjords is by air. Iceland Air operates 1 to 2 flights a day to and from Reykjavik. The flight takes about 40 minutes. In the wintertime, only about 50% of the time the planes take off. Due to the severe weather and the poor road conditions in the winter, air travel is essential to this part of the world. An interesting side note, there is no security screening when flying out of Isafjordur. A person just checks in for the flight and boards the plane. As we continue to sail through the fjord, we pass the city of Bolungarvík. This was one of the places where we went on our tour this morning. It is such a pretty community. Good evening. I am back from eating supper and also from going to Sailaway. Sailaway was a lot of fun. It was so neat to see the area we visited today and to see it from afar. And as we sailed farther and farther out of the fjord and out to sea, it got colder and colder and windier and windier. I tried to stay out there as long as I could, but I had to come back inside. I was just too cold. Now I'm going to set up my TPN for tonight and get ready to go to bed. I am very, very tired. And tomorrow we have another port day. We're going to be in Reykjavik. So we have another grand adventure planned for tomorrow. We are going to see a lot of things, and I'm not even sure what we're all seeing tomorrow, but it's a lot. It's a full day of sightseeing. I will post that video next week, so stay tuned to next week for Reykjavik. It's going to be a fantastic day. Thank you so much for joining me. Please remember to like and subscribe down below. I hope you have a great day and a wonderful week. Bye-bye. Good morning. Welcome to Isafjordur, Iceland. Okay, let's do this again. Good morning. Welcome to Isafjordur, Isafjordur. Good morning. Welcome to Isafjordur, Iceland. Today we have a very exciting shore excursion planned. We are going to a waterfall, then we're going to a maritime museum. We're going over to Good morning. Welcome to Isafjordur. Good morning. Welcome to Isafjordur, Iceland. Okay. Our first stop on the tour is at a stunning waterfall in the valley of Tungunglar. In the valley of Tungunglar. Tungunglar. In the valley of Tungunglar. This valley sits at the bottom of Skutusfjordur. This valley sits at the bottom of Skutusfjordur. This valley sits at the bottom of Skutulsfjordur. This valley sits at the bottom of Skutusfjordur.